Something that I absolutely love about my job is I get to hear so many individual, authentic stories. But today, this one I cannot say I've heard before. Ever. You'll see. I'll be honest, when I first heard this story, I thought of this. And it wasn't just me. What does this story remind you of? Like, have you heard any?
Last of Us.
Yeah. I thought this was a horror story, but the truth was stranger and way better. There was a parasite living inside Marian Serge's mouth, one of about 60 people ever. It was alive, it moved, and every single time someone went looking for it, it was gone. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about it. She wasn't sick, she wasn't in pain, her blood work was normal. There was nothing wrong with her. Every single person who looked at this had good reason to let it go. One of them didn't. Full disclosure, I've known this man my entire life. He's my dentist, I grew up with his kids, I've sat in that chair for years, and I'm pretty sure he's pulled like 12 of my teeth. Yeah,
I
whatever.
feel like I'm on across my legs, but I don't know if that's a bad angle or not.
Do you want to see?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Get my pants right.
But he almost wasn't a dentist at all. When he was 5, he tried to pull an extension cord apart with his teeth.
So got electrocuted. She laughs at me, that's horrible. But I can turn lights on and off without touching the switch. It's pretty cool.
He got to Virginia Tech wanting to be an architect, then he went to be a vet, so he signed up for animal science. Reproduction, specifically.
I was like, give that pig a cigarette. And no one laughed. No one in the class. They were all standing in front of me and they were like, looked at me like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm in the wrong place.
Growing up with him, I've never once asked myself what he does after I leave the dentist chair. About half an hour from here, retired nurse, never been out of the country, never been anywhere near where a thing like this is supposed to live. And one morning, she notices something in her mouth.
Just at home, I would just feel a rough patch in my mouth. And it would be on either side, last half a day. And I thought, that's strange. I was thinking I must have run into something, because you can get allergies. So I was thinking if I had an allergy, it would eventually just go away, and it did. It lasted a half a day. And then it would pop back in my mouth. I would feel another rough patch someplace else.
No pain, no itching, nothing that would make you call anybody. And then it would be gone, and after a few days later, it would show up somewhere else. Okay, so put yourself in her shoes for a second. You've got a thing, it's not painful, it lasts about half a day, and then it's gone. Who do you call?
There's no way you're going to call a doctor and make an appointment for a rough patch that lasts a half a day.
Right, you won't get in.
No, and they're not going to look in your mouth much either.
Or
they
even the dentist. Might not get you in that fast.
A dentist would, no, dentists are too busy.
So.
And this is not an emergency.
And she's right, it's not an emergency. That's the whole problem. She wasn't imagining it. She could feel it with her tongue. She showed her husband.
I showed my husband
Yeah.
my rough patch. He couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I would, if it was on my lip or something, I would pull my lip down. He couldn't distinguish because he's not trained.
He's looking directly at it and there's nothing to see. That's not his fault, it's the whole nature of this thing. 4 months in, she has a routine dental appointment and she mentions it, almost in passing. He can't see it because it isn't there that day, so he tells her the only thing that he can tell her.
When it pops up, take a picture or bring it in, let me see it while it's present. That'll help me diagnose it a little better. But at this point, I think it's an autoimmune problem or just an irritation to a toothpaste or sensitivity to something.
Which, quick sidebar, is a totally reasonable guess. Autoimmune just means your immune system gets confused and starts attacking your own tissue. In the mouth, it can show up as patches that come and go for no obvious reason. It's not rare, it's just the boring answer. And 9 times out of 10, the boring answer is the right one. So she goes home, and on the drive home, she does the math.
And on my way home, I was thinking, yeah, right, I call him and I'll get an appointment. Maybe, late in the afternoon, and that thing will already, whatever it is, that patch will already be gone and you won't be able to see it.
And that's exactly what would have happened. Except a week later, she's flossing and a filling comes out. So she's back in the chair for something completely unrelated. He numbs her up for the filling and steps out of the room, and while she's sitting there, she finds it under her tongue.
You'd never felt it under your tongue before, I guess.
No, that's the first. Yeah, it's kind of hard to feel something under your
Right,
tongue.
you don't normally do. Right.
Your tongue doesn't usually curl under.
Somewhere she had never felt it before on the one day that she happened to be in a dentist's chair for a broken filling. This got me thinking, if that filling had never popped out, does anybody ever find this?
Now, I think for you, if I had gotten it, and if I really wanted you to see it, I think I would have come in.
Because we talked about
With
it.
no appointment,
Yeah.
just come in, and I would have,
Said, I've got it right now. Let me
and
see it.
you would have made room for me somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe, but she also drove home from that last appointment, convinced it would never work. It took a broken tooth. He looks, and this is a man who's been doing this for decades.
When I got closer and looked in my magnifying, I realized that's something I've never seen. And so kind of sat back thinking, you can't just say, I don't know what that is. That's not what a person wants to hear.
So he takes a picture on an iPhone.
Marian, I'm not real sure what this is, but we're gonna find out what it is.
That photo is now the only proof that this thing exists. And in about 18 hours, it's gonna be the only reason anybody believes him. She finishes up, walks down the hall to leave, and she sees something she has never seen in all her years as his patient.
And I left the room, walked down the short hall, and there was Dr. Cross. I never see Dr. Cross after an appointment. He's always gone on to another patient, but today, he was sitting at a desk looking at a computer. You were already looking it up.
Because it baffled me. It's problem solving in dentistry sometimes. And
So what does a dentist type into Google when a patient leaves?
I don't know
What
this
did you
is
look
yet.
up? How did you search it?
So I was telling
Worm
them,
in mouth.
that's exactly what I typed. It's kind of embarrassing to admit that.
And it gives him a wall of text he can't use because he doesn't have a name, he has a picture.
The written articles were not going to help me, right? Because I'm looking at an image. I don't know what it is yet. So I switched over to the image category in Google.
He starts scrolling images, holding his iPhone photo up next to the screen, and he finds one. A photograph somebody took of the same thing on a man's lip.
I said, that looks just like what she has.
So he does what you do. He goes and finds the smartest people in the building.
And went to colleagues in the office and just said, hey, have you guys ever seen or heard of anything like this? The Gongylonema pulchrum? And they were like, excuse me? And this is a culmination of maybe 100 years of experience, right? So 40 years here, 30 years there, 20 here. And so we all pulled together and we're like, I'm not sure what that is.
Nobody's seen it, nobody's heard of it. One of his colleagues goes upstairs to dig deeper, then later comes back downstairs to find him.
So I was down in the clinic still, and he came up to me and he said, do you, if this is really what it is, you know how rare that is? And I said, no, what'd you find out? And he told me, and so there's only 60 in the world ever documented, ever.
60 in all of recorded medicine. 14 in the United States.
Okay, well, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's something else.
Which is such an honest reaction. The rarer it gets, the less he believes himself. So he escalates, calls an oral surgeon, someone who actually cuts things out of mouths for a living.
He typed it in his computer and it's like, has she been out of the country?
She hasn't. It's 2021. She's barely left the county.
And he said, well, I doubt that's what it is, because that's a third world country kind of thing. That we don't normally see something like that. And that's what all the studies and articles say.
8 o'clock the next morning, Marian is in the surgeon's chair.
Oral surgeons can really look at your mouth. I have never had my mouth examined that deeply. He was in search of something. He really wanted to see and find something.
The most thorough exam of her life, roughly double the length of a normal one.
He went all over my mouth and never saw anything.
Because by then, it had moved.
Because he called me at, I think 9 o'clock when he got away from whatever else he had at 8 o'clock.
That would be me.
Yeah, and he said, I didn't find anything. I think it's an autoimmune issue.
There was also a $5 bet.
And on a sad note, one of his assistants used to be an assistant here, or his nurse. She went off to nursing school and then became a nurse for him. And she said, I know Dr. Cross, and he wouldn't send it over if he didn't think it was real.
Right.
And they had I think a $5 bet.
There is a $5 bet on whether my dentist is losing his mind. Okay, stop here for a second. A specialist has examined the patient and found nothing. The patient is not in pain. The patient is not in danger. Her only theory, autoimmune, matches his original theory. And a worm in mouth in Roanoke, Virginia is statistically not a real thing. Every single one of those is a reason to stop. Any one of them would have held up and nobody would have questioned it. And yet, he couldn't do it.
It kind of got me a little frustrated because I thought, not mad at him, but like this thing exists.
He had also gone home the night before and not slept. So I asked him, why do this at all? And the answer starts with him, as a kid, going over the handlebars into a bike rack.
Broke my front teeth in a bike rack. Dr. Bond fixed them 4 hours later. You know, you walk out, you've got teeth in there, but root canals. And so that allows me to relate, which is kind of cool.
He says he didn't walk out of that thinking he'd be a dentist. He says that about all of it.
And it's interesting because when I look back in life, there's things that led me down that path, but I didn't walk out of any of those experiences thinking I was going to be a dentist.
He told me his college friends gave him a hard time about it.
College buddies that were like, you're going to look at teeth all day? And I didn't think of it that way, and I really don't anymore because it's really not looking at teeth all day. They're connected to a person and the person's who I want to engage with. Teeth are just what I fix or try to.
And I asked him what the hardest part of that is.
You know, you come from a room where it's their first appointment and the parents are excited and they're taking pictures, and then you go to another room, I'm gonna make myself cry. And somebody's spouse died, right? That's not easy. So I might have to cut that. Those are the emotions that you have to go through on a day-to-day. And you gotta somehow find a way to stay in a level where that's, you know, you can be compassionate and empathetic, and you want to be, and you definitely try to stay that way, but that's where the day wears on you, and that's probably most challenging.
Keep that sentence in your head for the next 4 minutes. So he tells his staff to call her back in. End of day, last patient.
If this is what it is, I haven't told her anything, and I don't want to tell her that on the phone just to put that in her head. I'd rather tell her in person to let her know, hey, we're gonna figure this out. And if it is what I think it is, we're gonna find it and get it out.
She comes in at 4, clinic's closing. He looks and it's gone again. So he sits her up and now he has to tell her.
I didn't want to tell you what it was over the phone because I wanted to make sure I was there in case you had a reaction that went sideways.
He's braced, he has a plan for how this goes badly. Imagine somebody telling you that you have a worm in your mouth.
This is where you put me at ease because my mom was a nurse. And you said, well, I'm a retired nurse, and you know, that makes sense. It could be something like that.
Okay, so about that. Up to this point in the story, everyone, including me, had been carrying around the phrase that she's a retired nurse. I didn't know what that meant. Marian did 2.5 years of nursing on the floor before going back to school for a neuroscience certification. Then she first assisted for private neurosurgeons.
They almost killed me. Yeah, 11 days straight, 3 days off, 10 hours a day.
Oh my God.
I know.
Then she moved into epilepsy research.
Our hallway was long, and it was for epilepsy, and so people were coming in from everywhere.
Wow.
So we stayed until we saw everybody.
Then Bethesda, Maryland, epilepsy research at the National Institutes of Health.
Then,
Oh,
my career's not over.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
And then the Food and Drug Administration, medical devices.
by then, I was a human subject protection, sort of an expert dealing with the informed consent. I'm really good with informed consents if you ever want to send
you
me
might
one.
need that, yeah.
So, and that was it. Wow. But at least I had some research in me.
So let me say this as plainly as I can. The one person in the world that this happened to spent her entire career on the question of what a patient has the right to know.
Nobody really knew I was a nurse, and it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't say, oh, I'm a nurse and you really need to do these 15 things.
Right. Today I sat down and didn't know your history in nursing. I just knew you were a nurse, but I didn't know it was that involved. And that research-minded.
4 months, multiple appointments, a $5 bet, and she never once played that card. She just sat in the chair. And when he told her that there might be a living organism living inside her mouth, she said 4 words.
And you said, do you remember what you said to me?
Let's get her done.
Yeah.
Let's get her done.
Quick question. When you're lying in the chair, how much of your calm is just assuming that the person over you has done this before? Because nobody in that room had.
Among the colleagues here, we were thinking, how do you take a worm out of the mouth? No one's ever done that. So what do you do? And I thought, well, okay, that's when I have something in the mouth I don't know how to take out or I'm not sure what to do with. That's when I reach out to the oral surgeon.
They'd been planning to hand it off, but you can't refer someone for a thing nobody else can see.
Well, what if we find it? What do we do? Because we were letting the surgeon deal with that.
Oh, that's right. He would have taken it out.
Right.
Hadn't thought about
And
that,
that was
really.
my default. So now if I find it, What's my role? Like, what do I have to do?
Oh, yeah.
And privately, he is not calm.
I've never told Marian this, but I thought if that thing moved really fast, this is going to freak out everybody in the room. And I've sincerely told my assistants, like, I might accidentally punch a person or run out of the room. I don't know what's going to happen to me. If that worm takes off, I'm out.
Part of that is because something his wife had shown him the night before. Another case, another mouth.
Did you ever watch that Monsters thing, man?
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
So I'd seen his story, and part of his story is the thing was really fibrous, and I had to, it was hard to pull out.
He asks her where he felt it go. She says back and to the left, under the tongue.
To this day, I felt like it left a path, kind of like a slug on the ground. Under her soft tissue, I think it left a little trail. And maybe that was made up, maybe it wasn't.
He follows it back, retracts the tongue so far she's nearly gagging.
I think I gagged 3 times because there's only so much room in your mouth, and you have to get to the parasite.
And then he sees it, but not the way he saw it the first time.
And I've told people that when you flip the vein, when it was under your tongue, it's like the vein on the back of your hand. When I saw it back there, it was more like a vein in the palm of your hand. Like you could just see it, but it was flat.
Golly.
Like a little squiggly line.
Yeah.
Somebody drew a highlighter.
Okay, I want you to try something. That's the photo. Do you see it? Now watch. There.
That's my
anything.
favorite part about that picture. I'll show people in my phone that picture.
Oh, that's right. What do you see?
And they'll look and they'll be like, I don't see anything. And then as I slowly zoom it in, all of a sudden they're like, oh, that is something that's not supposed to be there.
And now imagine finding that in a mouth, in real time, under a tongue, in about 4 seconds of looking.
Oh.
He doesn't numb her. He's worried it'll change something or that they'll lose the window.
The first time I reached in, I just kind of lightly squeezed and pulled out, and I had some of her soft tissue, and I thought, crap, I just probably tore the gums. And remember, I pinched you the first time and was like, this might pinch, and I pulled it out, and it was just soft tissue. And you may have, I think I said this out loud. I looked at it and was like, uh-oh, I might have torn it in half.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
He hadn't, so he goes back in, different tool, a shepherd's hook, the little explorer they use. And then the forceps, and out. Intact.
And so I instead went in and hooked underneath and told her, like, this is going to pinch, and reached under there and kind of pulled on it like you're pulling a worm out of the ground kind of thing. And then grabbed it and pulled the whole thing out. And it started doing this in front of my face with the tissue forceps. And I thought, oh, this is real deal. Like, this is what I thought it was.
There was a dental assistant standing 3 feet away from it all. Her name is Jo.
It was just like so quick and so unexpected that I was like, wow, like that really just happened.
They'd planned to film it. That morning, there was a whole plan. Then they thought they lost it. So everybody stood down.
It kind of froze me, like, phones? Anyone got their phones? Like, we gotta document this.
Both assistants are frozen.
And they're both blank, just staring at it. I'm not even sure they heard me say a word.
And then a voice from the chair.
Marian goes, I've got my phone on me. Just kind of broke the the shock value of it. It just broke that ice.
The patient, with the worm freshly out of her mouth, is the one running the room. So what was that like from the chair?
I didn't see it immediately. What I heard was, oh, look, he's wrapped around the instrument.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense if it's a worm, he's alive.
Yeah.
It's a live thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't really bother me or gross me out. Actually, it really didn't.
Yeah.
I was in good hands. You'd be surprised. The relationship between a patient and a dentist or a patient and a doctor.
I felt bad for the patient, but she was a major trooper through it. Like, she was just so calm throughout it.
And then she went home.
I kind of got the feeling, though, that my part was over. Yeah, it was your time to celebrate because didn't need me anymore, so I was ready to go home.
Sure.
And I left.
And leave what you didn't want behind.
And just left you all to deal with it.
The first phone call he made was to the oral surgeon.
I said, you need to get the surgeon on the phone because we communicate, and I'm going to tell him this is real and I'm not an idiot.
He put it in a vial and then he took it home.
Like, if this is as rare as we think it is, if I leave it here and cleaning people or somebody actually displaces it, now we don't have any story. Like, it's like me hitting a hole-in-one in golf and nobody there to see it. They wouldn't believe it.
His whole family gathered around the vial on the kitchen table. One of his sons even went to turn it over.
Don't do that, make sure the lid's tight. It's just kind of funny that
protect it at all costs.
How protective I was of that thing.
It goes to the CDC, confirmed under an electron microscope. Gongylonema pulchrum.
Gongylonema pulchrum.
Gongylonema pulchrum. They couldn't DNA sequence it. It had been in formalin for too long. Blood work normal, 3-day stool sample, negative, 1 antiparasitic, ivermectin, used off-label, expensive enough that she needed insurance approval. Then infectious disease.
Yeah, I stayed with the infectious disease doctor for several months until she was ready to let me go. So that went smoothly, and it was over.
So now the obvious question. How does a parasite found in livestock find its way to someone in Southwest Virginia? And this is where Marian's answer is better than anything I could have written.
This organism should never leave the farm.
It lives in swine and cattle, sheep, goats. They found it in bears. The adult worm lives in the lining of the esophagus and the mouth. The eggs pass through in the animal's waste, and then the dung beetles and cockroaches eat them. Inside the insect, the eggs hatch and develop into infective larvae, and they wait until the insect wanders back into the feed and a cow or pig eats it. And it starts over. That's it. That's the whole design. It's never supposed to leave the farm.
So how does it get to me? I don't live on a farm. I live in rural county, Franklin County, but
not really. I mean, it could be anywhere, right? With what you just said.
Her husband has a vegetable garden. They're on well water. She's never left the country. Nobody ever chased it down.
And the vegetable garden is really not a bad place. I mean, if it were,
Come from there, yeah.
we would have more people infected.
Correct.
Really, because everybody has a garden.
Right. That's a good point too. And you don't let animals just roam through your garden.
No, we don't have animals.
Yeah.
To this day, nobody knows how she got it.
I don't know how I got it, and that's the missing link.
Marian, being a researcher, did her own research, and she found something. Another case, same state. 2013, Williamsburg, Virginia, about 4 hours east. Jonathan Allen, a biologist at William & Mary, invertebrate specialist, which means of all the people on Earth, he's one of the few who would recognize what he was feeling. And what he was feeling was a rough patch that moved around in his mouth for 3 months. Same thing, same symptom, same disappearing act. Now here's the part that should stop you. He went to his doctor, he got told they didn't handle that. He went to an oral surgeon, he got told it was normal discoloration, something the surgeon saw all the time. Sorry about it. A trained biologist who knew what it was could not get a professional look. So he did it himself. Standing in his own bathroom at 3 in the morning with a pair of fine-tip forceps, he pulled the worm out of his own lip. He named it Buddy. He was the 57th human being ever recorded to have one, the 13th in the United States.
He extracted his own. He had a mirror. He looked in the mirror and took out his own Gongylonema pulchrum.
He got his DNA sequenced. Marian's couldn't be. 8 years later, 200 miles apart, the exact same worm and the exact same thing standing in the way. Not the parasite, the appointment. So how many people have this and just never got the right person to look at it on the right day?
And I think they only count the people that they're written up. Otherwise, you don't know.
Don't know.
And bless their hearts, I wonder if there are just some people out there living with it because it does not hurt.
It could be anybody. That's the crazy part.
So I told you at the start that I thought this was a horror story. It isn't. It's a story about a woman who had a symptom nobody could confirm, and a man who decided that wasn't good enough. And when I sat with the two of them 4 years later, they said the thing out loud without meaning to.
Would you have found it if I hadn't said rough patch? No, because you wouldn't have looked under there.
Right.
Yeah.
There it is. He doesn't find it without her. She doesn't get it without him. He called her the next morning to check on her.
Well, the day after you extracted it, you called me to see if I was okay.
You will be definitely a patient I'll never forget.
Right.
For as long as I live, because of just, but you're also, your approach to it was comforting. Like you said it earlier, you had faith in me to do what I needed to do, and trust, which is a huge compliment in dentistry. Like trust is a word that I want every patient to have.
Yeah.
In a profession that sometimes doesn't get that, or they're fearful of it. Trust is huge, and that's how I want people to be around me, and when I treat them, that's what I want.
I knew you could do it.
And it was rewarding to, come out with an outcome, but it was also very rewarding as a person that wants to treat people.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, right there. He doesn't think he did anything unusual. 60 documented cases in the history of medicine. That's the rare thing you clicked on. But that's not what's rare here. What was rare is that a man went home and couldn't sleep about a patient who wasn't even sick, that he called a specialist, got told he was wrong, and called her back in anyway. And that she trusted him enough to sit back down in the chair and say, "Look again." Every one of us wants to believe that if something weird was happening to us, somebody would care enough to try and figure out what it is. For Marian Serge, someone did.
I think it's kind of neat because we have like this eternal bond now.
Yeah.
What a beautiful
That's pretty cool. That part's the really cool part.
Okay, one actual useful thing before you go that both of them said independently. If something in your mouth is doing something weird and it disappears before anybody can see it, take a picture.
If you can take a picture before it goes away,
Yes.
you're educating the person that's, has to do some research and find out what it is. Because otherwise,
Yes.
if we didn't have that picture, I probably would have never figured out what this was. Well, eventually maybe.
And if it's in your mouth, Marian says call your dentist, not your doctor.
I don't know that I have ever been to a doctor where they have said, open your mouth and let me examine your mouth. I see physicians as being dentists as being the front line for something like I had. Something that's wrong with your mouth.
Oh, and Marian said she only changed one thing about her life after all of this.
If I find any black speck in my food, I gently pick it out and leave it alone. I don't eat little black specks.
That's it. That's the whole prevention plan. You're welcome.
This will be for insomniacs at 3 a.m. when they pull up.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this story.
Last thing on YouTube that they want to watch. Right.
This is where you look at the camera and say goodnight.
Yeah,
You wave,
good night.
Good night.
Night.